Alright, I got something to say somehow. I'm gonna turn this down though. Hold on one second. Let's see, I'm kinda disappointed in what people have done. Mostly because I'm independent, and there's one person that actually represents me in the Congress or the House or anything like that. I think that's the reason why people were just, I mean, like other countries sometimes play on our and I'm not saying like just every country, but or the people within the country. I mean, it's become like a commonplace to like or at least for me, I guess, in what I've experienced, because maybe I'm just looking at things wrong, or maybe I'm just looking at the wrong stuff. But I've realized that that a lot of people don't get what government is really supposed to be about. I mean, granted, you're supposed to Alright, well, I mean, think about it like this, okay? You're supposed to do so much as far as being a politician. You're supposed to get stuff done and make sure that people have enough money and all the other different stuff. And it just seems to me that either they're not telling how their budget is in actual form, or they're recycling money, I guess, to make it seem like there's like, or they're just, or people are just like trying to save up money because they believe that there's going to be some sort of like, and that's the point, is like, when you save too much money, that's what happens sometimes.
If you ever get lost, do not panic. It increases the risk of unpredictable.
That's what happens. Like, when you save up too much money and you're not like promoting an economy, it's not how much money you save all the time. It's like, got the gold, please. It's not how much money you save. It's how much it's how many goods you can get. It's how much goods you can get for that money, and goods and services. It's like, we're not thinking about infrastructure a lot, and I see that in New Orleans sometimes. They don't understand, or people don't understand, what infrastructure actually means. And I mean, not to say that it's like everything that goes through people's heads in a given day is moreover not being productive, I guess. And it has a lot to do with everyone's mental state. Like, people are prone to fights, prone to defending themselves instead of proving what's right. Like, what's right is everyone's supposed to be represented, I think. And a lot of parties just want a voice, and they don't understand that before they get a voice, they already have one as a citizen. And you need to learn those things, the rights you have as a citizen, in order to be able to understand what rights you'll have as a politician, or what kind of voice you'll have as a politician. I mean, no matter what kind of thing you choose, I think there's a lot of different people who don't really understand the concept of of like just leaving it on the field, you know, like they don't think that there's a
That other voice is George. They say we're related, but I don't see a resemblance to you.
they don't think that there's an end to what they're what's gonna get them. Like it's like these people who think and say a bunch of different stuff about the United States government has been blah 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 blah, and then I mean I just think that it's all a ploy. Like
George and I were created by the same AI.
it's all a ploy when you think about it, because it's like and it's it's like there's so much stuff that you see in a given day, and there's so many things you see that you're like not dissatisfied with. And also I did this thing. Bronze medal. There's so many things you think about, and it's like, if all these big parties, whatever these big parties were, if they were to separate into different groups and different people, the bills would be the same, but the people would be well represented. I mean, I think that's the key of what people don't understand is about being represented. It's like there are individualistic thoughts about what needs to be done in government everywhere, and those individualistic thoughts could help people instead of trying to I mean, oh man, it's just like I think it's a learned paranoia sometimes when it comes to certain things. When it comes to like,
Look out for abruptly ending roads.
Don't mind George. He's an 8-bit mind in a terabyte world.
oh shit. I think people, what they've seen in the world, and what they've seen happen around them, it gives them this effortlessness of being protective. And not to say that you don't need to be protective of yourself or your things. How's it going, viewer? If you want to talk to me, you can. I'm talking about our current state as far as representation in our government. I'm gonna. I think it's a collective paranoia that actually makes that people side with one party or another, or think that there's only two sides to a story. I mean, I don't know. I guess don't get it sometimes, and I don't think that people really understand the like ramifications of saying that, like seeing it through, seeing the perspective through. I don't know, they left. That's okay. Seeing the perspective through. God damn it, I'm stuck in it right now. Okay. Here we go. Seeing that perspective, I think through a certain lens or a certain person, I guess, as far as what they want in their government. And I think that what happens.
Scott was the first person here a long time ago.
I think that what happens is the more you try to reverse someone's work, or you try to reverse someone's something, I think that this is the wrong thing. I think they should make, if the Republicans or whatever, the majority and or minority of Republicans think they should be changing, I don't get it sometimes. I mean, I get what they're trying to do sometimes, but I also don't understand what their main goal is in everything. I don't understand what their main goal is, and it just makes me think that people have done all these things because people have done all these things to be able to affect public opinion. Like, that's all politicians now speak for, I think, and that's basically the reasons why I hate politics, is because it can and will always affect public opinion and the way that things get moved around. And that's kind of valid, I guess. But I think the most of what I'm actually concerned about is the more I see a growing what's the word the more I see a growing distancing of things. People just think that, oh, if this person is in power, or if this person is able to make decisions, then we'll go into this. Like Hillary Clinton, for example. What's the big deal on letting a woman run the country? Or not a woman, but maybe a woman that doesn't sound like a serial killer when she laughs. I'd say that there is a lot of reasons why people don't realize that she was kind of running the country when Bill Clinton was there too. People don't realize that, and we had a lot of. It's like there has to be some sort of trade-off, I guess, when it comes to things, and I see so many people trying to. What's the word? I see so many people trying to merge the gap, I guess, but doing it in the wrong fashion, saying that, oh, these things need to stop, this fighting, oh my gosh. It's just like, no, the debate needs to stay. The debate really does need to stay, but we need to come up with more ingenuitive ways of claiming that debate is wrong for some reason. I mean, that's the whole point of actually being in a society that has your participation, or that has your things, and I think that that's the point is that's in other countries they use this kind of tactic to literally kill off civilization, like to kill off the bad eggs, or to not kill them, but to drum out competition. And then within that competition, they state their case and their opinion, even though they've had more time to come up with their opinion over time and what actually justifies that. When in actuality, a lot of times, I don't think that just because you have an opinion or just because you make an opinion makes it justified. Like, a lot of manipulative people do that. Like, they say that a bunch of different stuff isn't the way that you're supposed to think it is, because this is the way that I think, and that's been working for a really long time. And I'm saying that just because it's been working for a really long time doesn't mean that it'll keep working, you know? You have to understand that. You have to be more of a beacon for people to be able to tell you their problems and not shun people for believing in something different than you. You know? That's the terrorism that people are talking about. I think that's the terrorism that people see every day and are represented in different things. And I think that a lot of times it's not just because of someone's race or creed or any moral value or religion. I guess it has a lot to do with their mental state and the way that they perceive themselves to be in this world, I guess. But a lot of times I think that the more you listen to people out there who are willing to change things, the more you listen to everyone, basically, the more you'll find that adopting their ideas and then implementing them in your party isn't something that you need to stand for. You need to be able to give them a voice. But that's the point, is by giving them a voice with yourself, it doesn't mean that they're going to appreciate that, you know? It doesn't mean that they're going to appreciate what happens if they're not able to say, you know what, I want to become a politician, I guess. No, not me, but that's hypothetical, I guess, because the more you think about it, I think the more you're able to but the more you're able to think about it, the more you realize that that the people aren't given the factors of their own success, I guess. People aren't given the things that need to happen in order for everyone to have a sort of not just unified voice, but a specific voice, and saying that these are the reasons why these things need to happen. There are a lot more logical people in the world than there are people who are mad or anything like that. And creating just rules and not guidelines for everything. And that's the point of just being Republican or just being Democrat. That gets me irked, and I'm just like, oh man, there's just nothing that people can fall back on. How's it going, viewer? If you want to message me, you can. There's so many things that I've noticed in people's mannerisms and things that I see. So many things that I've noticed that people just don't give a shit about because of the way that, or the state of our local and federal government. Local, state, and federal government. That there have been different rules for, I mean, Oh, it's got to do Superman. I'll retry. Alright, I didn't get it. I forgot what to do for, the thing. Seeing, though, the biggest flaws in every government, the reason why those flaws are initiated and happening isn't just because of an uprising or someone's need to protest. It has everything to do with the way that people aren't being represented. The way that, like, Republicans nab people by not manipulating what they're doing, but saying what they're doing or what they're saying in a different light, to be able to create this kind of enveloping kind of government that says, oh, you're a good person, but I'm not going to give you any money. And then and I have to realize too is that a long time ago these parties were flip-flopped, which is crazy because it's like they only have two ways of looking at something. They only have two ways of being able to say, you know what, this is the way that I think, this is the way that things are going to happen, this is the way that, I mean, it's a dying breed. There are so many people that have been career politicians and literally never done anything for anyone, never done anything, never given to charity, never done the things that they really need to, and I think people need to research who's actually representing them sometimes too, because I haven't, and I'm kind of sad about that. But what's more investing, I think, and I've researched somewhat, like I haven't done enough research sometimes, and for my own judgment, not anyone else's. And maybe that's why I didn't vote for so many years, because I didn't believe that I was represented properly. I didn't believe that there were enough people in government representing me, representing what I stand for, and that's what I believe is above all. People need to understand as they go home and they realize that. And it's not something it's not something that I believe that they have to live with or something, because you make decisions every day and it makes kind of a butterfly effect throughout things sometimes. Not exactly a butterfly effect, because technically the butterfly effect doesn't exist, but it makes a series of rifts in what you're trying to convey or what you're trying to do that day or that week or that month, and then it takes that and it makes like this sermon in your head, or this thing in your head, this like a voice basically that says, no, don't do that, or not exactly a voice, it's more like a conscience, I guess. It makes you feel like, or makes me feel like, the one in my head, makes me feel like I'm not being, or says don't go that route, or don't do that thing. I voted, how's it going, viewer? If you want to message me, you can. I voted to not allow fantasy football. What's the word? I voted not to allow fantasy football competitions in here, and it has a lot to do with my personal views. It has a lot to do with basically the thing that people are gonna realize, I think, is that once you kind of take all that and put that into one person's account. Like, person made like, oh, I made like $23 million. Oh, I made like $300,000. Like, all that other different stuff. All those people that are literally just, if you put that much money into a person's hand and they decide not to tip their waiter, not to do different things, or not to go to certain places because they just don't feel like it, that's how you ruin either economies or fix economies in some ways. And that's, I think, with the surgicalness of Republicans and the sheer what's the word, the sheer broadness of Democrats, that it doesn't take into account the fact that people can basically do that any day. Like, they can take that money and then distribute it how they see fit. But then what you're looking at, what you're trying to look at, what you're going to look at is the fact that that person didn't make that money. You know, he gambled, and it's gambling, and it's a lot harder to be able to plan when you don't make the money the right way, or the right way is earning it, and the right way is you should earn it, because what you're going to do with it, what you think you're not going to do with it, is act irresponsibly. And as soon as you get it, you go do something sporadic because you're not thinking, you're not understanding that. I mean, it would put on a person who has good intentions. Like, with a person who has good intentions, they'd always be able to think about certain things and be able to fix certain stuff that they believe is wrong with the world or something like that. But that's what I'm saying, is in the right person's hands. But in the wrong person's hands, it could literally cripple an entire city because of people not understanding that. And it, that's like, imagine this. A dude from Austin, okay? And a dude from New Orleans. Or a dude from what's the word,
sandstorm probability is a cloud in the distance that is not your average green. Seek shelter immediately.
Okay, there's a dude from not Austin, I guess. I don't want to use that as a thing because I keep watching Rooster Teeth. A dude from, I'd say, Helsinki or any place that's outside the country right now. So there's a dude from outside the country, and he's bet on football, or he likes football. Granted, there are people that like American football, and they're not from here. He's from Helsinki, okay? Alright, so he's from Helsinki, and he bets so much money on a thing. If he wins a thing, he's really good at statistics. I don't know if he what kind of thing he is, because I don't know what Helsinki's main and or median, I guess, race is, because I'm not up on Helsinki news or people or anything, because I don't know what Helsinki. Whatever. Okay, Helsinki. Dude's from Helsinki. He's good at statistics. He wins a bunch of money. Okay, wins a shit ton of money. So much money. Not only, or from a country that we're not, say, trading with. Okay. Think about that. Okay. So our government, or federal government, takes a cut, right? Okay. That federal government takes a cut. But what happens after that is the dude who won isn't getting any money. The dude who wins isn't getting any money. Okay? Not because he's taking care of his family, but because the government seizes that money before it ever reaches the border, or through crypto, whatever it is, they do that. So now the government that we don't talk to has our money, okay? And then all that happens, all right? Think about that too. It's a matter of national security, because a government that we don't talk to often, I guess, has our money, okay? So they start sending people over, all right? Start sending people over, and they drink up and have a good time in New Orleans and different places and a whole bunch of different stuff. But there's people that are like, oh my God, well, if I send all my stock to these people, then I won't be able to feed the people that I want to feed, because these are like loyal customers and people who come here for years, and these people are just showing up for a month. So there's that. There's a whole bunch of different situations where tourism was the wrong thing to think about. Because tourism was the wrong thing to think about. And if you allow people to play competitions completely willy-nilly, there will be an influx of what people would like to call a trading thing, but with countries that we don't talk to, because we don't talk to Russia. We don't. No matter what Trump likes to think, we still don't. We can't, because the way their government is formatted, okay? Because it gives one person power instead of the masses. No matter who's in office, no matter who's in the Senate, no matter who's in the House, no matter who's in judge, like whatever, no matter who's a Supreme Court justice, it gives the people more power than the people who are working there, because they're making money, all right, every single time. We technically are not making money. That means we have more power to be able to give our voice some sort of thing, okay? We don't give people who don't have what's the word? Because the reason why we won't give anything up to Russia or anything like that, the reason why is because they won't acknowledge their people. They don't take numbers. They don't take a census. People die all the time in Russia, and they don't actually do anything about it. They're trying, but they don't have the money for it. And with the changing climate and a bunch of different things, they don't have the money for it. We'd much rather have them feed their people, or feed the people that they need to feed. That's what we do. That's the reason why we still gave aid to Korea and North Korea. Because we did that. Because we were like, hey, feed your people. Don't fucking spend all your money on tourism and stupid shit, because you'll bankrupt your country. And people who are in other countries that are like, hey, I'm just gonna go do all this stuff and get a whole bunch of nukes. No, feed your people. Feed the people. Give a welfare. Doesn't matter what kind of welfare it is. Just do it, because if someone's going hungry, then someone will have food. You know? And that's, I think, the reason why people don't realize is that's why a lot of people die, is because there's not government programs that are put into place in some countries that we don't talk to, or that some people don't talk to. Most people don't talk to. That's the reason why they're irresponsible with their money, and people die as a result. That's the reason why in North Korea, 600,000 people died in the 90s of starvation. And now that there's less people, there's still enough money, enough food to be able to feed people, because they rationed. Unhingingly rationed, but they rationed. And then they're stupid because I hate them. Because of the morals that they have, to be able to say, well, I guess these people don't really want it that much. So that's the reason why I hated football that much, because a lot of my coaches and a lot of people said, well, I guess they didn't want it that much. It's like, well, okay, what if somebody's like in your house, okay? They are hungry, all right? And like they're starving, basically. They came from some sort of trip, and they didn't eat at all because they didn't like the food there, or they didn't like the food somewhere, or they didn't like the food anywhere because they just didn't like the food. They said they liked the food, and then they didn't like the food, whatever reason. Doesn't matter. But the main point is realizing that that person who didn't like the food who's starving. Shouldn't you have like a system of something, and then you're related to them? Shouldn't you have like the system put in place to be like, oh wait, it's your house too. I have food for you. I have food, and that's fine. That's good to tide you over until you get money to be able to buy your own food because you spent all your money on your trip, right? Now, granted, that's the reason why people are like, well, if he's irresponsible with his money, then he shouldn't be able to eat, because that's but that's the point, is that people don't get what they're saying. It's like, you should starve because you're irresponsible. You should die because you don't spend your money wisely. And it's survival of the fittest. That's an animal thinking, technically. If you want to think about it. If you want to really think about it, it's an animal. And we have like things like that. We don't say inaudible phrases that people have to decipher, or things have to decipher, in order to be able to make sure, and then we don't say as much. It might be inaudible to some aliens, but the point is that you need to realize what kind of government you have, and if you have the kind of government that would allow you to starve, do you really need to be there? Do you really need to be at that place? Because I've seen videos that were completely and utterly doctored, and that show, oh, it's great here, we're great, and it's like, oh, that's just the people who live in the trailer park. It's like, how many people live in the trailer park in Russia? But it's about, I'd say it's about 1 million people that actually do have trailers here. About 1 million. I wonder how many people actually live in subpar living conditions. And not just trailers, but subpar trailers. Like holes in walls and shit that people just don't even realize. Like, they're just cold all the time. And yes, and also viruses. People think that because of the cold, viruses don't travel as fast. Viruses travel faster in the cold. Viruses travel so fast in the cold because of the fact that it's solidified sometimes. It's solidified, and it could like hurt someone on the way through their lungs. Like, so they can like, so basically the ice kind of makes you so holding that all into consideration, I'm not going into too much detail about it, but holding all that into consideration, realizing the fact that alright, I'm gonna see this new outfit, and alright, so holding all that into consideration, understanding that people themselves don't they don't see the thing that let's go to adjust colors, let's go to green. Alright, okay. Redeem on Uplay. Reach level 24. But that's basically it for me. Taking all that into consideration, be yourself. It means so much to just be yourself. To realize what you believe in and how you believe it, and that shouldn't be undermined by another party, by another person. It shouldn't be undermined just because you think you don't have a voice. It has a lot to do with confidence, but that's the reason for bullying in the first place. The reason why is people are afraid of things. They're afraid of people rising up. They're afraid of people saying things that matter instead of throwing around things because they believe in something. Walking around is going to get attention on an issue. It definitely does. But it doesn't change the issue. Only you, with your voice and your courage and your help, can change an issue on anything. It's not going to change the issue. It'll raise awareness. It's not going to change it, though. It's not going to change the fact that there's people out there that don't give a shit about you. But understand this. No matter what your beliefs are, no matter how you believe, be yourself. Be yourself. I'm myself. I know I'm annoying and stupid sometimes, and I have like I know the worst version of me as well. The one that likes to completely mess with people's minds and very manipulative. But the part of me that knows that that's wrong always comes through and is the realization of the fact that if I didn't have that part, then people could say the things that they could say about me. But they wouldn't be able to. They won't be able to, because I would manipulate them into believing something else. I'm stupid. But believing yourself is key, and to be able to change any issue or change any perspective on an issue. Realize the fact that what people use to be able to change your mind is the same situation and the same thing that you could be using every single day to be able to build your case and your argument for something that you know exists. Or something that you know, like fairy godparents. You know? Have a good day and be yourself, and thank you certain people for being with me. And if you're just the same person doing that over and over again, then don't. Please. Be yourself, and you are your own one-person bomb squad. You can defuse situations that happen, or sometimes happen, or you can diffuse the biggest crime that there ever is lack of representation. The realization of the fact is that we have the power to change representation. We have the power to change a whole bunch of different stuff. And all we really have to do is think about something differently. Or run for office. It doesn't take much to run for office. You just have to get, I think, okayed by a certain committee in order to be able to do that. And sometimes you don't even have to do that. Run for some sort of office. Do something fun. It is fun to work for office because you'll have more to do, and you'll be more things. I'm not running for office because I know this. I know for myself that I'm so far, I guess not ahead, but I'm so different from what people actually think about as far as their government goes, that I probably won't be represented until I'm probably passed away. And that's going to be a pretty long time from now. So, I mean, and that representation is going to be more of a thing that that makes me feel better about myself. And be supportive of each other, because you never know what example you're setting for people around you. You never know what example you're putting towards. I really do think that in some values, like there have been a lot of people that have really good values, that are Christian, Muslim, a bunch of different kinds of creeds and religions. But you can't help or push the bad out, because with whatever bad you see or understand, you'll be able to create something positive around it. And that's what I think people did when a lot of things happened, as far as, I mean, like, that's what a lot of people did when bad things happen. They tried to turn it around and make something good happen. And I'm talking with my hands, but I mean, I watch too much Philip DeFranco. Yeah, alright. Have a good day. And be yourself, because there are so many reasons why you should be yourself. Because if you're not yourself, then you're lying. And it's easier to lie. And once that lie becomes a truth, you'll have to accept it no matter what. And I think that's the worst part about lying. You know? I wouldn't know exactly, because I'm not lying about myself. But be yourself. And if you make a conscious choice to change anything in your life, change where you feel or where you sense the things in your life lie. And you'll realize your personality changes altogether. And then you'll also realize that somehow you're able to forget and remember at the same time. Have a good day.